How are you tonight? Welcome to my live call. And I'm going to talk about why customers will never give you or make you wealthy. I'm going to talk about some other things as well. And for those of you that do not know me, I've been involved in network marketing 41 years. 28 years ago, I was totally bankrupt, broke, sold a junk truck to get enough money to put money into my network marketing business, which was $200 to get started. And since then, it's been a career. So when they say it doesn't work, they're lying to you. And so now we're going to get started here, but I'm going to acknowledge some great people like John Perez. How are you doing, my friend? It's been a while. How are you? And Ciro in Arkansas. Good to see you tonight. You know, the temperature's supposed to drop and they're talking about snow and I'm like, that's not good. Crazy. Markian, good to see you, man. Rees in Singapore. What's up? Good morning in Singapore. How are you doing? Are you in a lockdown situation? The Philippines is. I'm hearing from some of the friends over there. John in Baltimore. Good to see you. Rosia in California. Good to see you. Rosemary. Where are you? Philippines? I'm guessing. I could be wrong, but I'm just guessing. Anyway, nice to see you on the call. Don't know where you're from, but welcome to the call. Oh, she says Texas. You know, I heard of that country. H.M. Lowry in North Carolina. Good to see you, Linnea, Tennessee. Good to see you. We are on strict measures, but not on lockdown anymore. Okay. Yeah, a lot of fun things to do in Singapore. I always enjoy it when I go back there. An amazing city, beautiful garden city. Emilio, good to see you from Fort Lauderdale. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. And boy, you probably got nicer weather than we got here. I'm ready for it to warm up. And they're talking about snow in the morning. I'm like, please. Don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. So I was in Clubhouse today. I'll talk a little bit about what we talked about. It was great. I mean, there were on the panel, on the platform there, we had probably seven-figure earners, actually probably 8-figure earners. Hadass, good to see you. And a lot of people that joined that room. So good day, Nico. If you're not in Clubhouse and you have an iPhone, nice to see you from Winnipeg. Yeah, and Rhonda, good to see you. Megan, what are you up to, girl? It's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Anyway, if you have an iPhone, I would download the app and start getting into Clubhouse. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, it's really great. Again, it's back to doing what I've talked about, well, I don't want to spoil it. I'll talk about it in a minute. So again, we're going to talk about really quick why customers are never going to get you wealthy. Why is that? I mean, because when, the number one goal, anybody that joins a network marketing company, what they want to achieve is more sales growth, right? Always more sales growth. And usually a lot of your, I'd say corporate people that run these network marketing companies have never built a team before. They've never built a team before. It's not like a few decades ago where you had some people that had some experience in building a team and then they ran companies. I can think of is Richard Brooke. He's a perfect example. So he's built teams, but he's also been the CEO of a few network marketing companies. But the emphasis, again, you hear is customer, customer, customer. And it's more of a knee-jerk reaction to regulatory people that really don't understand our business. And as a result, and don't understand it in the sense that we're not 20, 30 years ago, back in the past, when we lacked so much technology, we had to have face-to-face direct sales going on all the time. There's still that going on. It happens in the Philippines, happens in South America, it happens in India. I get that, but I'm talking about that if you look at the United States or you look at Europe, it's different in that situation. We just share a link, people buy a product, it's shipped direct to their house, right? That's usually how it goes. So, but again, a lot of your regulatory people don't understand that, that everything is evolving, everything is changing. And so it's not about sales, it's about consumption. It's a big difference. So in other words, when I share my link with somebody, I'm asking them to consume product. And then it's also, there is a lack of definition of what a customer really is. And again, that's a battle that will have to be fought one day in courtrooms in the future about what that is, because a leader who's working the business, if they are consuming their products, they're a customer. They are a customer. There's no way with any logic, in the absence of intelligence, how could anybody argue that? Of course they're a consumer. Nobody's got a gun to their head. Nobody's making them take the product, right? Nobody's making them do that. They're doing that on their own because they believe in the product. Just because you own a McDonald's franchise doesn't mean you have to eat McDonald's food, right? You don't have to, but a lot of them do. Most of them do. They want to make sure that their product tastes the way it's supposed to taste, right? So when we think about customers, it's interesting. Think about it. And I mentioned McDonald's because McDonald's would never be where it is today if it was just focused on sales, that is selling product. Because we all know the Ray Kroc story. And Ray was the one that when he saw what the McDonald brothers did, and they make good cheeseburgers, they make good, great chocolate shakes and vanilla shakes, whatever. They were good at that, French fries, they were good at that, okay. He said, wow, I see a system here. I see a business model that you can sell. And the McDonald brothers didn't see it that way. They thought, I don't know about that, but I know if I sell a burger, I make some money. I make some money. That's right. But if you want to go off and use our name and make money with it, go for it. Okay. And we all know the story. Because what made McDonald's a success was Ray Kroc. It wasn't the McDonald brothers. There's a lesson to be learned. Sell the franchise, don't sell the burger. Now, in the past, years ago, some viewed that as a pyramid scheme. Yes, selling the franchise, not selling the burger. Well, of course they sold burgers, but the focus wasn't on the burgers. The focus was on the business model. Now today, there are 38,000 McDonald's throughout the earth, throughout the world, right? 38,000. And they do about $38 billion in sales. $38 billion in sales. Amazing. Amazing. And they would have never been able to do that. The McDonald brothers, they couldn't touch a fraction of that volume by selling burgers, by being focused on customers. There's a lesson learned here. So if you want to get wealthy in network marketing, that's a model that you need to follow. It is a model that you need to follow and pay attention to, because customers are a byproduct of what we do. In other words, you prospect somebody intentionally for the business, but if the timing isn't right, then they can default to being a customer. That's great, and that's exactly what you should do. Because if they join you in the business, they're going to be a customer anyway. But there's a big difference between that kind of customer and just a default customer. A default customer is somebody that right now they're busy. They don't know what to think about the business right now, but they're okay. They'll use your product. That's good. You want them to use your product because you want them to appreciate your product. And eventually, you want to move them from being just a default customer to the next step is a committed customer, because default customers might stay on your product for a month. They might stay on for 1 month. And typically, statistically, what they'll do is drop off. You won't see them in the second month, right? But if you work it right, if you work that right, if you're plugging them into Facebook product groups where they can hear the stories are very important because they build the faith and the value in your product, then it always reminds them that this is a great product. I think I'll stay on AutoShip. But for those that go 3 months with you, at least 3 months, they're no longer just a default customer, they're a committed customer. But what made them transition from default to a committed customer was belief. That's it. I mean, I've got people who've signed me up for products that, they're friends and they're not products that my company carries. And I said, sure, looks like a good product. And then months later, then I'm thinking, what am I taking this product for? What's it about? I don't even remember. Then I just get off AutoShip. Why? I have zero belief in it. Zero belief. I don't even know what it does. Forgot. Yeah, happens all the time. So again, how you build that belief? Facebook groups, or if you use WhatsApp groups, whatever. I like Facebook groups because it's a platform that can support different things. So, you can have learning units, you can have videos, you can do live calls, you can run contests. There's a lot of things you can do in a Facebook group, right? So again, but you're building their belief because they're hearing the stories. That's it, the stories. So they're going from a default customer to a committed customer. But again, what do you really want? You want them to buy the franchise. That is, buy the business model. In other words, really commit to the business. That's what you want. Because here's how you get more customer volume out of committed business builders. Because statistically, most of your default customers are somewhere between $50 to $100. $100, we'll say, is about there. But when they go from that to a to a committed customer, then you might see 125. You might, because they're going to try a few other products and things like that. But think about this: for those people that are in your business, okay, so they're in this with you to build a business, right? Whether part-time, whether they have big goals or modest goals, it doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. Do you think that those individuals order more products? Do they consume more products? The answer would be yes. It would be quite a bit. Matter of fact, when you look at the people that are engaged in the business, I mean, if I look at my family, oh my gosh, between me, myself, the kids, you know, we probably go through $1,000 a month easy. So when you think about it, then that's all the more reason why you want to always promote the business model. Because when you have people in it that are going to be part-time, they're going to be sometime, some are going to be all the time, whatever level that they are your biggest consumer of products because they believe in them. And they'll try different products to get a different feel so they know what to recommend to people. Again, most of your companies out there, you know, I know the one that I've been with, I joined 22 years ago, you have a flagship product, you have a lead product, okay? And so it's sort of like you ladies can appreciate this. When you go to a dress shop, you might see a window out in front of the shop and they just put out something really eye-catching. Do they put everything that they sell in the window? Of course not. They just put something there to catch your eye and it's like, I gotta have it, I gotta have it. And you go right in, you get that, and then they're selling you shoes, earrings, and everything else, right? That's true for your network marketing business, okay? So you have to have a product that is like your flagship product. If you don't know what that is, talk to your company. Find out what is your number one seller, because that's what's driving your business. You can't talk about 100 products. You can't talk about 50 products. You'll overwhelm and run people off. You have to focus on something that appeals to most people out there. And then it's, oh, by the way, later on, you can get familiar with some of the other products on the website or the online catalog and find some other products that you and your family would enjoy. And that's it, because they're going to do that. They're going to go in there and snoop around and they're going to find things. And that's the way your leaders going to, your sometime leaders, your part-time leaders, your all-the-time, full-time leaders are going to do that. They're going to do that, and that is where the bulk of your business is going to come from. It really is, because the default customers drop off. A lot of them drop off because they're not, whoever brought them in did not follow them up correctly. They didn't plug them into something like I talked about, a Facebook group that would help build their belief and their confidence in the products through the stories that they see and hear. So if some of that makes sense to you, then you understand then the importance of the model, the business model, why you have to promote. And the only way you're going to have exponential growth is through leadership. You're never going to get it through customers. You'll never get it through customers. So when we talk about, you know, if you sponsor two, who sponsor two, who sponsor two, in other words, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, whatever, the exponential model, how it grows, or if you sponsor 3, or if you sponsor 4, look how it duplicates, okay? Look at the numbers. And then, you know, if you attach $100 to those numbers, and you look at the exponential growth, the different levels, the amount of people in that business model, look at the income that you're making. That's called exponential growth. But again, those numbers need to be not customers, leaders. And most of you are only going to sponsor a few, who are also going to sponsor a few, who are going to sponsor a few. And that's how it works. And thank God for that, right? Because most of your, if you look at people who've made 7-figure, 8-figure incomes in network marketing, they did it with probably two teams, where the bulk of their business came from. Now, they sponsored other people. They might have had a few smaller other legs, but the bulk of it came from 2. But just understand, when we talk about exponential growth, that is only achieved by promoting the franchise. It is only achieved by promoting the business model. And then as a result, you're going to have default customers, you're going to have committed customers, and then you're going to have leaders that are sometime leaders, part-time leaders, full-time leaders, And again, they're the ones that do the bulk of the volume, but that's how you create exponential growth, is through promoting the business model. So that's why when people are just product focused, and you see some companies that are knee-jerk that they react to the fears of, regulatory people, and there's nothing wrong in promoting the business model. There's nothing illegal about it. There's no laws against it. Why would there be? If there would be, then there has to be laws against franchising, right? So the thing is, just understand that, and that is your business if you really want to be successful. And then understanding chasing customers will never get you there. Chasing people who are ready to be part-time, sometime, or full-time, that's what's going to get you there. As far as, Clubhouse today was interesting. Again, you can always reach out to me. I have some invitations. So if some people are just trying it, they're just, they want to get in, they have an iPhone, they downloaded the app, but nobody's invited them, and you have to be invited. But today we had, let me see, Ray Higdon, he invited me to come over. We had Angel Fletcher, we had Taylor Thompson, we had Lisa Grossman, we had several, it was really good. Good questions, and then Michelle Eldridge did a lovely job emceeing it, as well as, her name escapes me right now. But anyway, very good. But one thing we talked about habits, important habits that you need to have if you want to be successful. And so one, I was just looking for common denominators in shared experiences. I had mine and Ray's was pretty much aligned. So was some of the other leaders. So number one is consistency is everything. Consistency. See, some people think if they have more time, they'll be more successful. Time doesn't fix that. If we are not pursuing income growth activities, like promoting the franchise, right? Promoting the business model, network marketing, and signing up business leaders, the sometimers, the part-timers, the full-timers. So the thing is, so our time needs to be consistent, but we don't need a lot of time. To have the result that you want is not going to be based on how much time, it's what you do in that time. But what's most important is if you take a little time every day, but you're consistent, you'll see that you can be very successful in network marketing. Because most people, they just get around to it when they feel like it. I'm going to tell you, there were times I never felt like it. There were times I did it, I hated it. And because there was, doing the same old things, right? We call that monotony. Monotony. What creates momentum? Monotony. Doing the same old boring crap, but you're doing it. It's like my sponsor. One time we were in New Zealand, and I was with my sponsor, and it was just a beautiful spot. And I said to him, hey, let's me and you do a quick Facebook Live right here. He said, I don't feel like it. I said, what's that got to do with it? It doesn't. Because leaders will do it when they don't feel like it. It's never based on their feelings. It's based on their disciplines. And what we see today with people is they're trying to find strategies where disciplines are exempted. It doesn't work that way. They want to avoid the discipline and just find the strategy. In other words, man, just give me a social media platform where I can just throw my picture up, throw some stuff up, and I just add some people, throw some people into it, connect, just like Facebook, right? And I just want to wake up tomorrow, man. I want a downline of 5,000 people. You know, I want to make $20,000 this month, okay? Yeah. So that's strategy versus discipline. No, I don't want to do the work. No, I don't want to talk to people. No, I don't want to follow up. No, I hate prospecting. So, because they don't like that discipline, they don't want to do it. You know, it's like me. It's like somebody that wants to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, and he was at his best. All those muscles and everything looked totally awesome, totally ripped, right? Well, heck, I want to pay somebody for that, to do that for me. I want to pay somebody to go to the gym with me. I'll give them, hey, I'll give you $500 a month if you'll go to the gym for me and just make sure my body's ripped. Right. Doesn't work in network marketing either. There's no substitute. There's no strategy. There's no platform out there that's going to build it for us. And that was one thing we also talked about today was that, and I was so glad to hear this one leader, because I've been saying this for a while, but I like it when I hear other people say what I'm saying, because then, we're congruent on that. And that is, it's all about conversations at the end of the day. I don't care if you got 30,000 people following you in Clubhouse, if you've got, 5,000, you're maxed out in your Facebook, you've got, 30,000 people following you in Instagram, doesn't matter. If we don't reach out and start having conversations, how are we going to get this thing going? You won't. But that's the discipline. The conversation's the discipline. I want to talk to you. Hey, Janet, I don't know you, and we're connected. So, hey, you look totally awesome. I love your content. I love what I see that you're, what you're putting up. And that's called a conversation. Then she reaches back, say, hey, I'm glad we're connected, blah, blah, blah. So you need to make a list of people, electronically or written, doesn't matter, of people that you want to be intentionally communicating with. And in the past, I've said this, that in your Facebook, if you've never really engaged with people in your Facebook, then why not go into your Facebook friends and just reach out to them if you haven't messaged them, or if you haven't, let's just say message. If you haven't messaged them in years, send them a voice message. Say, you know what, we haven't messaged. And now if you have messaged before, take note of it, refer to it, and then, acknowledge it. Say, hey, you were doing this back 2 years ago, and we haven't talked. I'm ashamed of myself. How are you doing? How's your family doing with all the crazy COVID pandemic stuff going on? What's been happening? And see if, and set a goal. Do that to several people every day, and then see how many people respond back. If they don't want to talk and all that, get them out of your Facebook. Clean it up. And the same thing with your Instagram. Reach out, have conversations. So we talked about that today. It's all about the conversation, because you're never going to have a relationship until you have a conversation. And then once you get that relationship going, then you can ask them to take a look at what you're doing. You can reach out to them, and they'll do. And so again, how you get permission is that prior to that, you have to have some common ground. And that is your conversation that you've had. They know something about you. They don't have to know everything about you. And I'm not talking about endless rapport, but I'm talking about there has to be something there. So we did talk about that. And so again, going back to consistency is what wins. We're talking about daily habits. So today I shared that 28 years ago, when I had to sell a junk truck to get started, I was out doing jobs at night. And that is, I'm mopping floors, working in a grocery store, buffing floors. Yeah, that's what I did. Just to have some money coming in, just to pay some bills. And then when I wasn't working, Nights I wasn't working, then I was out presenting. I was out meeting people. I was talking to people. Now today you can send a video. That's a presentation. Doesn't matter. But that's what I did. But I can tell you that when I came home from work, a lot of times, almost every day, I would always, when I came home, I'd have something to eat, and then I'd go down the hallway, close the door, and start making phone calls. But I was consistent. 1 hour, maybe 2 hours, every day. And then sometime on the weekend, I'm meeting people. Maybe perhaps I'm doing meetings, things like that. Again, you can do online meetings. The point here is you're involved with people doing a presentation, but the point is that you're consistent. It's doing a little time every day, a little time every day. I don't care if it's 30 minutes, but doggone it, do it every day. And then it adds up at the end of the month. You're going to see results from it. So that was the first thing that Ray said. I was totally on board with, because I've been saying it, is consistency. It's not just showing up when you feel like it. It's not showing up every now and then. It's being consistent. The second was, he talked about meditation, how important meditation. He said, people have asked me in the past, he said, if you were to do something different, what would it be? If you were to do things differently than the way you did it. And in the past, he said, I always said I wouldn't do anything. I'd just do what I did, because that's what got me my result. He said, but now, he says, now I say meditation. I would encourage people to do that. When we talk about meditation, I'm not talking about sitting in a Buddha temple and you hear the chanting, Om, Om, Om. I'm not talking about that, okay? Okay, well, when I talk about meditation, most people are, like if you listen to a Tony Robbins video or tape or audio or whatever, you get some stuff in your head and all that, and you're like, oh, wow, this is totally cool. That's intellectual. It doesn't become a part of you until it reaches your heart. Okay? And that's where meditation comes in. Sort of look at it like eating food, right? If you eat food, just imagine if the food you ate never digested. Well, you say, I wouldn't live very long, I'd die. Well, that's right. You would die. Yedalai, Northeast India, good to see you. Anyway, so you would die. Well, it's true with the knowledge that we take in. You don't know something really until it becomes part of you. And the way it becomes part of you is it's got to reach your heart. You have to think about it. You have to immerse yourself in it and see the value of it. And in doing so, you can teach it. Because you don't know something again until you teach it. Once you teach it, you really know it. So, and I shared my experience because I was totally in agreement with that. But it was in a different sense that I said that every morning when I began my day, what I would do is I would pop a Tony Robbins cassette in and listen to it. And then I would, 30 minutes, we're only talking about 30 minutes here. And then after that, then I would go for walks and think about it. And that also included Sundays, because every Sunday I would go down Dream Street. Dream Street was where all the beautiful houses were, where all the rich people lived. You had estate homes there. Some were pre-Civil War, beautiful houses. But every Sunday, as broke as I was, I would walk through there and I would just immerse myself into that environment, and I'd look at that house and I'd say, yeah, wow, that house, the one with the pillars, I'm going to have a house like that. Yeah. Those rose gardens, perennial gardens. Yeah. I'm going to have a gardener too. That Mercedes in the driveway, I'm going to put a BMW next to it. Yeah. And every Sunday I'd walk through and do that. Every Sunday, walk through there, do that. Some call that the law of attraction. That what you think about most is what you attract. But the fact of the matter is, in 18 months, I experienced that reality. I went from bankrupt, broke, 18 months later, moving into a beautiful house. It had the pillars out front. It was built in 1860. It was a Greek revival home. I had the gardens. Yes, I had the Benz, and then later the BMW. Sure, all of that. But all that happened so quickly. What changed was me. And so meditation, and that is focusing on what I want, not what I don't want. Nobody wants to be broke. Nobody wants to be stressed out. Nobody wants to have too much month at the end of the money, right? And struggle. Or explain to your kids why you can't go out and do neat, exciting things. No, you know, so it doesn't do any good to focus on what we don't want. And what I was doing back then, I was focusing on what I did want. Now the book, The Secret, wasn't written. I should have wrote that book. Anyway, it wasn't written, but I was acting it out because I was doing it through meditation. And that is just thinking about those very things I wanted to, and then all of a sudden the right people are lining up in my life that I'm building a business with. So when we talk about daily habits, again, consistency and putting the time in your business, small amounts of time. Large time doesn't fix it. If you got that time, great. But I know most people don't. So I want to be real about this. And because I was in those circumstances back then, 28 years ago, I put in a little time every day. And that's what got me out of my job, out of having to need a job. And I went full time in network marketing. Never looked back. Never looked back. So that is a very important thing to do, is consistency, and then meditation, focusing not on what you don't want, not focusing on what you don't like about your life, or what's not perfect yet, or what makes you unhappy. I mean, today I had a good friend die in a hospital. I was very sad to get that news. You know, he died from a very aggressive brain cancer. And I just found out yesterday that he was in the hospital. I was so shocked. He was 44 years old. And, you know, just very sad to get that news today. And even though, you know, when I got that news, I had to go in my bedroom and close the door and just lay down because my energy just nosedived thinking about it. How unjust life can be for some people. But finally I got myself up, and 30 minutes later, and you know, I then a sense of gratitude about so many other things. Yes, that's horrible, that's tragic, let's comfort the family. That's what I did. I called his brother. He was just crying and crying and crying, and you know, but at the end of the day, and I told my kids, I said, you need to be grateful for the health that you have. Be grateful. So that is that despite the sadness that we experience in this life, there's so much to be appreciative for. So meditating and thinking about those things really helps us to achieve the life that we want to achieve and give our family a better life. So those were some of the things we talked about today, and in Clubhouse was habits, daily habits. But again, customers will never make you wealthy, okay? It's business builders is what you want. You want to find people who are ready to be in business with you sometime, part-time, and full-time. Anyway, so glad you guys made this, and if you got value, you could share this if you want. And also my book, Reaching the Peak, is in English and Spanish on Amazon. So anyway, thanks for getting on the call. And oh, hey, Emmeline, Utesi, say hi, say hello to Frank. Thank you. And I think you're in Davao, Philippines right now. Is that in a lockdown? And Elsa, nice to see you as well. Odette, good to see you. Good to see all of you. So everyone, have a great day today, and I'll reach out to, well, it's day in the Philippines. But for those of you in North America here, have a great evening, and we'll connect again. Anyway, thanks for jumping on the call. Take care.